Alright, we're starting out on the 20-watt setting. That sounds pretty awesome. The bright switch is on and the deep switch is on. Let's turn the deep switch off. Slight cut in the low end there. Alright, deep switch back on. Bright switch off now. Off and then on. A lot of times bright switches are unusable because the bright's too bright and when it's off it's too dark. Now this is like a perfect tiny bump in the high. Studio sound for sure. So it's got a crunch setting on this clean channel. Let's switch to that. I know that adds some gain in here. So let's go to the, I guess, dirty channel, sort of like Marshall-y channel. Start on the cleaner setting with like the flatter mids thing. It says mid shift. It's like an upper mids versus a kind of flatter mids. Kind of everything around 12 o'clock. Sounding. So let's go a little bit more mid, maybe a little bit more treble, a little less gain. Let's go to the 40 watt setting. This has been 20 watts so far. Pretty cool. All right, a little more gain on that setting. That's the cleaner version of that. So let me bring the gain back down before I switch it. Okay, so this is like the gainier. Also turn the reverb back on. Okay, so let's go mid shift. Let's push the mids up towards upper mids. 20 watt, volume down, gain up. That's like kind of too quiet. So what I like to do sometimes is I like to bring the treble down a little bit when I do this kind of thing. Bring the bass up. It's almost too much gain, really. That's like way more than I would ever. I don't even really play that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of delay settings and reverb settings. There's like plate, spring, and hall. The whole time it's been on hall. I didn't use any of the delay stuff, but the delay stuff sounds awesome. Sounds like a really good, nice analog delay pedal. It was actually impressive. I'm not into modern amps, but this is a really pretty good one. I'm surprised. All right.